Hey, what's up guys? So today we're gonna talk about how to draw trend lines correctly. We're gonna talk about that today, coming up next. Now if you want to learn to draw trend lines, you need to know some basic principles. You gotta build your foundations right. First thing you need to know is you need to draw major trend lines before the minor ones. What do I mean by that? This means that you need to draw trend lines for the longer term as compared to drawing small trend lines for short term. Draw the long trend lines before you draw the short ones. Later I'm gonna give you more examples, okay? And then the third thing is that you need to ensure that at least 3 points touch the trend line. For example, 1, 2, 3. At least have to be at least 3 points. Now realize that is the same thing as support resistance. For a support resistance to be considered strong, it has to test the line at least 3 times. Now the downside of this is that if you wait for the third point to touch, you might miss out on some trends, because there are some trends where it only touches 2 times and it's a valid trend. So there's no right or wrong. If you're a more conservative trader, then you wait for 3 points. Personally, I just prefer if it touch at least 3 points. So if you are trading in a bullish trend, you draw it at higher lows. For example, like this, higher lows. Okay? So if the trend line is sloping upwards, you are looking for a buy trade. In other words, if the trend line is sloping downwards like that, you have lower highs, then you're looking for a sell trade. In a bearish trend, you will draw your trend lines at the lower highs. So now the thing is, there are 3 main types of trend lines that you can draw. The first one is the major trend line. So this major trend line lasts longer as compared to a medium term trend line. And a medium term trend line would last longer than a shorter term trend line. You know what I'm saying? The shortest of goal is medium term. I wouldn't bother drawing short term, because it's like if you draw too many short term trend lines, you are like building a spider web. Then it's like you're a trader, you're not Spider-Man, okay? So here's an example. This one's a downtrend, okay? One thing you need to take note is that the more points it tests the trend line, the stronger it is. Same thing for support resistance. And also the other thing is that the further apart the touch points are, the stronger is the trend line. That is why major trend lines, they are more significant than minor trend lines. Because for minor trend lines, the touch point is just few hours apart. For small trend lines, for short-term trend lines, minor trend lines, few seconds apart. If you draw it in the minute time frame, it's just not worth it. It is just as if you're not drawing any trend lines to begin with. Because when you do draw the minor trend lines, they are not strong to begin with, so why draw it? You know what I'm saying? So what do I mean by a strong trend line? Recap a little bit. The more touch points it has, the stronger it is. The further apart these touch points are, the stronger it is. Now by strong, I mean 2 things. The first one is that when the trend line is strong, very likely when the price tests this level, it's going to act as a strong ceiling, so the price very likely is going to go down. And not only that, when the price breaks above this trend line, it will be a stronger breakout. This is what I mean by a strong trend line. So right now, if I go to the euro dollar chart, you have more than 3 touch points, okay? And eventually this price also came back up and then test this level. So instead of being a one-sided trend line, this is a two-sided trend line. This increased the strength of the trend line. So you can see that when this price broke below this trend line, there's a major downtrend. Can you see that? So this is what we call a two-sided trend line. Now this for downtrend, you do realize that for minor trend lines, it has less touches as compared to major trend lines most of the time. That's why major trend lines, they're more significant, they're stronger. And remember, draw the major trend line first before you draw the minor trend lines. Now there are two types of minor trend lines. The one that goes with the flow, in this case, the bearish trend, it slopes downwards, same direction as the chart, the trend. And there's another type of minor trend lines, and that is called the counter trend lines, like this. Okay, so these different trend lines serve different purpose. I wouldn't trade the bounce off and make a buy here, because I don't trade against the trend. So if you buy here, it's a risky trade. I would rather trade the breakout from this counter trend line. Then I'll make a sell. You know what I'm saying? I really make a sell over here when it broke this counter trend line. So counter trend lines, okay, they are only significant only when there's a breakout, because on most days when it's just testing this level, you wouldn't use it. You know what I'm saying? Whereas for this trend line that goes with the flow, you can use it to potentially enter, because you know that if the price comes up and tests this level, if you make a sell, it's a high probability trade because you are trading along with the trend. And when it does break right here, I wouldn't make a buy until there's a confirmation that price has changed to an uptrend. So again, this is another two-sided trend line. You see, the price broke this level, come back up and test this level, and test this level. It's a little bit more tricky as compared to one-sided trend lines. If you're a beginner, this might confuse you, but again, it all comes down to practice. Just practice drawing trend lines, spotting the invisible. Learn how to draw it properly. Doesn't happen on day one. Gotta practice, gotta train yourself, train your eyes. Then you'll be able to draw two-sided trend lines. You know? And the other thing you need to take note of is that there are some trend lines in which the angle is very steep. What does the angle tell you? The angle of the trend line. I hope your secondary school teacher taught you well, or primary school teacher. The steeper the angle, the stronger the breakout. And the other thing you need to take note of is that if you draw a trend line, you don't need to draw it at the exact point at the wick. It still comes down to drawing the best straight line. Just like support resistance, you cannot see trend line as a straight line. It's supposed to be a zone. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't have to fit exactly right there, because trend line also has a support zone. Okay, so let me give you a summary of what you have learned. If the trend line is sloping up, then you're looking for a buy. If it's sloping down, you're looking for a sell. The more points it touches, the stronger it is. Okay? And the further apart the touch points, the more reliable the trend, the stronger is the trend line. The steeper it is, the larger the angle, the sharper would be the breakout. Major trend lines are always stronger than minor trend lines. They are more significant than minor trend lines because of all of these reasons. Okay? When there's a breakout against the trend, it's an indication that the trend has ended. So if you're on a buy trade over here, if you're a trend follower, when the price breaks below this trend line, you better get out. Okay? You better get out. Now the thing is, if you're a scalper, trend line wouldn't be useful for you. If you're trading long term, swing trading, position trading, trend following is very useful for you. So I would say trend line is more suitable if you use H1 or above. If you go down and draw your trend line, let's say in the M1 time frame, okay, it is not very productive. If I'm to give you one example, if I draw one trend line over here, it seems like it's pretty significant, you know what I'm saying? Seems like it's pretty significant, but if you shift to H1 time frame, where's your trend line? Like, can you even see it? You see? Like, look, what's this? What's this? Like, seriously? Seriously? What is this? When you go to H1 time frame, it doesn't even look like it's a valid trend line. You know what I'm saying? So that is why I don't prefer using trend lines in smaller time frame. Maybe that's just me. Okay, so if that, let me know down in the comment section below. How do you use trend lines for your trading? Do you use it to enter, to take profit, to cut loss? Let me know. Okay, so with that, I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye.